Good afternoon. Welcome to Mobility Magic on this Good Friday edition. And I just want to say a big thank you to Ino, who just preceded myself with his awesome kickboxing HIIT and cardio class. Great stretching right there. I'm going to try and keep the theme going. We're going to try and stay a little bit warm. I know some of you have committed to doing the whole day of workouts today with us. So thank you very much if you've joined us. If you are part of the mobility crew that joins me on a regular basis on Monday, you'll know the score with this. We are working through some mobility work to keep you going through the day. And if you join us for a one-off session of Mobility Magic, we're going to try and work that too. Happy Good Friday, everyone, and welcome those who have a day off, or those of you that are working, obviously, welcome to you too. And hopefully this is enough to break up your day. There's some awesome sessions coming up after myself. If you're tuning in on the replay, welcome to you too. And just going to give it a minute, just to let you sign to the session. A few more people, hopefully more people come in. Today's session, we're going to start with the lacrosse ball as usual. You might need a foam roller, and if you have a weight or a kettlebell, that might also be useful today. We're going to try and include those too. I know I've had a number of people ask me about how to include weights into a mobility routine to speed things up, so we're going to do that too. So without further ado, I think we are good to go. We have a good number of people. Hi everyone that's joining. I am going to turn the comments off. And as I say, if you were just joining us, welcome to Mobility Magic. If you know the score, we're going to start with a little bit of a check-in with the feet. I've changed the orientation today a little bit because of the light. It's a little bit later in the day than we normally do, but if you are a regular, you know how we do. We just like to do a little bit of a check-in to see how our body is feeling. And our check-in today is going to be our feet, our hips, our low back as well, as we kind of move through a series of stretches. We're going to keep it a little bit more dynamic today, as I said, because I appreciate that some people are going to be doing the session before, the session afterwards, and some people are just going to sign in to just do this one particular session. So thank you very much if you've joined us. Thank you very much if you've joined us off the back of Ino's session. If you are just watching this on the replay, which some people might, thank you very much for joining us there as well. So again, just checking in, rolling out our feet, just to see if we need to do any more work on there. And if this starts to loosen up the plantar fascia at the bottom of your feet, any tenderness, any tightness in your calves, hamstrings, glutes, the low back, etc. So we are just going to roll a little bit more on this side, and then what we can do is we're going to do a little bit of work on the calves and ankles as well, just to kind of loosen those up and see if we can get you moving a little bit more efficiently for the next class straight after myself. As Ina mentioned at the end, we also have a group fitness Zoom session that you can register for. I believe it's on the 24th and 25th, and that is coming up this month, so get on it. If you haven't already seen the emails coming up, I think you find the details on the Good Life website too. And that's for, I believe, the group fitness showcase on the 24th and 25th. So we've done our feet. We're going to get rid of our lacrosse ball. We don't need it for now, but what you will need is either a weight, a foam roller, or a kettlebell, which is what I have. Okay, so normally we would start with a little bit of rolling the calves out. You can still do that if you wish to, and that works really fantastically well. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to start with a little bit of loosening of the calf by adding some downward pressure on the lacrosse ball. So there's two options here. You can take your foam roller and you can apply some downward pressure onto the foam roller, or in this case, I'm going to show you another variation that I like to do. We're going to grab our kettlebell if you have one, no problem if you don't, and we're just applying a little bit of downward pressure into the kettlebell. It just allows us to really pinpoint where we're a little bit tight on that calf, and just to loosen up that gastroc and soleus. So just bring our toe towards us and away, and again you can apply the same thing with the foam roller. Again, if you can't quite see, because I appreciate the light, I'm just using a kettlebell to mobilize my ankle. So downward pressure, probably a 6 or a 7 out of 10. Now I'm going to paint the corners a little bit with some rotations. Works really great, just getting those muscles to slide a little bit more, get some movement. Again, keeping it nice and dynamic, because I want to make sure that those that are joining us for the whole of the afternoon, all the sessions, that we're keeping you mobilized and moving, and we're improving that dorsiflexion, plantar flexion of the ankle. Okay, so find a new spot. We're going to do 3 on this foot. We've done 1. We're going to do a second one. We're going to pull our toe to our nose, pulling up, 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 toes to the nose, down towards the floor, rotate, and then let's work down again. So just find 3 different positions on your calf, and again, you can do this with a foam roller if you have it, or you can substitute it out for a dumbbell maybe. We're just applying a little bit of exact pressure, and yeah, you can use a ball as well if you want to keep it close to the ground. We're doing some dorsiflexion, some plantar flexion, some rotations in a circle. Okay, let's move on to our left ankle now. Oh, sorry, our left calf even. So starting close to my knee, a little bit off the tendon, I'm just applying a little bit of downward pressure just to loosen a little bit. And I'm going down, so I'm dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, that's pointing and pulling my toe towards my nose. And I'm just going to paint some circles with my big toe, clockwise, anti-clockwise, just getting that calf to loosen up a little bit. Find a new position, this time a little bit further away from you. You can either go close to far away or proximal to distal, or the opposite way around, whichever works best for you. So again, up and down. Don't spend too long on this. We're just about 6 or a 7 out of 10. We're just quickly getting rid of any tension in the calf, not trying to get any pain in the calf. That's up to you if you want to, and we're just trying to loosen this calf up. You can go side to side if you want to, that often does work too, but for now we're just doing back, forward, so plantar flexion, dorsiflexion, and circles to loosen the calf. Awesome. So let's come out of that position. Let's do a little bit of direct work on improving this dorsiflexion of the foot. So we're going to either take our weight, we can even just use our body weight and just rock forward, and that will also work. But sometimes, if you have a little bit of assistance, if you have a weight at home, could be anything, could be a heavy bottle of oil or water or something with a little bit of weight, this can also work. And we're just rocking forward to help improve the angle, getting our knees over our toes just a little bit, and just biasing outside our foot. So we're traveling forward and slightly diagonally outwards to improve the range of that ankle. So you can also, when you get to the end range here, just pull your toe towards your nose, really, really pull, 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 and then bring it back just a little bit. So we're leaning forward, pull, 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 and bring it back just a little bit. Change sides, same thing again. So you can see me front, face on. We're leaning forward slightly, and we're biasing out to the side, just to improve that range, and we're just kind of bringing it forward and back. If you start to click and pop, if you suddenly get a release in range, that's good. Hopefully the bones are nice and strong, and there's no issues there. But if any contraindications from your doctor or physio, then obviously skip over this one. So those of you just joining us, we're just working on building some range in our ankles at this point. So improving that dorsiflexion of the foot, helping you squat a little bit easier at this point, and just improving how our ankle travels forward. We're traveling forwards and slightly out, so I'm traveling slightly diagonally as I rock forward, hopefully improving that range, okay? So if you don't have a weight, no problem at all, you can just do body weight, you can even use a dumbbell, or you can just hold your foam roller just so you can keep nice and tense. Second thing we're going to do is we are going to come to our end position goalie stretch that we've done before. We have our 90 degree, and we're just going to use the kettlebell as a assistance tool to add some tension into the adductors, the adductors. So my weight is straight down into my knee. I'm transferring weight as I come into the stretch. The kettlebell is coming into the stretch with me as I lean to the side. So if I was a clock, my knee that's on the floor would be pointing, my big toe would be pointing towards 6. My knee at the moment is my left knee that's up at 90, pointing towards about 9 o'clock right now. So I'm just leaning my body weight. So I'm not reaching, I'm just leaning my body weight, and that transfer of weight should be enough to just start to open up that hip just a little bit. So if you can't see it, I've got a kettlebell in my hands, I'm just shifting the weight to the side, I'm keeping my foot planted on the floor, I'm keeping my body weight centered as I shift it, and this should start to loosen up those hips just a little bit. We're just trying to keep everyone moving that's joining in. We're doing it at a little bit faster pace because if you've come off the back of this awesome session a minute ago, or if you are traveling into the next session straight afterwards, I want to keep you nice and warm. So we're traveling a little bit faster in this mobility session today. And if you are just watching this on repeat, this can be a great way to prep for any sessions that you have coming up over this weekend. Keep yourself nice and active. So again, center pressure, foot's on the floor is my left leg this time. It's pointing to 6 o'clock. Foot that's planted at 90 is at about 3 o'clock or so. And I'm just transferring my body weight with this kettlebell onto this hip, opening up that adductor, that adductor, as I shift my hips. Just shifting my hips to the side. And as this tends to happen, I like this one because it helps me just to loosen up that ball in the socket as well. It makes it feel a little bit better, improves the quality of the movement that I do. So again, just shifting my weight, keeping it nice and central. My body, turn towards you a little bit more, is staying nice and tall. My arms are reaching down to the floor, and it's kind of pendulum action as I shift my weight. If I was to do it without the kettlebell, I'd want to keep that same position, I want to keep my foot down to the floor, and I just shift the weight. So let's transfer into a little bit more of a weightless variation, because I'm sure some people are probably asking, well, what do I do if I don't have a kettlebell? We're going to work through our series of stretches for our adductors without the kettlebell, because now you should feel a little bit looser if you've already done the stretches with me right now. If you want to do this series as well, that's great. So we're going to point our foot forward first, facing me, so whichever leg is down, keep it down. We're going to point our foot towards about 12 o'clock. Our rear leg is pointing towards 6. So we're rocking forward, just transferring the weight from one foot to the other, keeping it nice and dynamic for now, because again, today's session is a little bit quicker in terms of tempo. And we're going to move around the clock. So I'm moving from 12 to 9 on this variation. I'm going to start to move my foot as I feel a little bit of range increase, and those adductors, the adductors, are loosening up just a little bit. I'm shifting my hips, keeping my chest nice and proud, my head is back, I'm nice and tall, and I'm working around. Excellent, so start to work into that new range. So if you follow me around, I'm moving around now to about 10 o'clock. I'm starting to loosen up because I'm keeping it nice and dynamic, just shifting my hips. If I was fencing, I'd be just transferring my weight across, keeping my chest nice and tall, and opening up those hips. And we're just working around the corner, so we get to about 9:30, 9:30, and now we're into that 9 o'clock territory. So now I've got this 90-degree angle coming across, and I'm shifting that weight, just like we did with the kettlebell a minute ago. So should feel everything start to loosen up a little bit. Okay, awesome. So now we're going to transfer down to a little bit more of an open wide goalie stretch. We are going to have our hands planted on the floor. I'm going to turn to the side a little bit so you can see, and we're going to plant our hands on the floor. So first position here is going to be find your neutral. So find your neutral position for your spine, and we're going to bring our leg out to the side. So now I have this increase in angle, and I'm going to do a little bit of a rock back. As I start to open up this hip, I start to get an ease of movement, and I'm going to keep it dynamic, so I'm moving just a little bit quicker than we normally would. A little bit quicker than we normally would. Rocking back. Try and keep that foot slightly raised. You don't have to put it flat on the floor just yet, but if you feel like the range of motion starts to open up, you can, and you want to move it more into a hamstring stretch, you can plant it down, sorry, a more of an adductor stretch. If you want it more of a hamstring stretch, you can pull your toe towards you. That also works. So you can probably see it now, pulling my toe towards me, but we're just rocking back for now. So as you rock back, work more into that range, get further forward. You might be able to feel your hips start to rotate in the socket a little bit. Should feel good. Get a nice tall position. As you now come back, I want to turn your toe up to the ceiling. So I'm turning my body up to the ceiling. I'm turning my body up to the ceiling. Let me just change angle for you so you can see. As I rock back, as I rock back, turning my toe up to the ceiling, just working through. If you can get your hands flat on the floor, great. If you have to have a slight taller position, no problem at all. Okay, so from this position, we can just drop our hips slightly if you need to. Hands on the floor if it makes you feel a little bit more stable. And we're gonna add in a little bit of a turn of the foot. So we're pushing now down into the floor. And now, as I rock back towards the back wall here, I'm also coming across this way slightly. So I get a little bit of traction into that hip, just getting some separation in the hip and also trying to create some distance away from that toe. Okay, so let's transfer onto the right hand side. So now my left leg is a 90 facing towards the back wall. My front leg is going to be about 12 o'clock, so I'm facing you directly, and I'm keeping my chest nice and proud, head nice and tall, and I'm getting a little bit of a stretch on the front. If you haven't noticed already, that can also be a good opening for the front hip, and we're just starting to lean our weight forward to work on that ankle and also open those adductors, those adductors as we come around the corner. So leaning our weight forward, nice tall position, breathing as we rock forward. Again, just trying to keep the pace up so that we can get you prepped for the next session that's coming up straight after myself. Sorry about another half an hour after myself, but you know what I mean. Just rocking forward. If you need to, just balance yourself or hands on hips, whichever works for you, as long as you stay tall and the weight is centered. So now we're working this foot around. So just center for you. So we're rocking this foot forward. I'm at about 10 o'clock-ish, 10:30-ish, just coming around as I feel myself open up. So if you're keeping it nice and dynamic, if you're keeping your weight flat over the whole surface of your foot, you should find that you quickly get your hips nice and open as you transfer that weight. Works really, really well. If you have any issues with knees, hips, ankles, that sort of thing, as a quick opener, it can help you also improve the depth of your squats. So if you're someone who really, really enjoys the class we have on here with the barbells, or if you enjoy anything that's going to involve squatting or deadlifting, this can be a really great quick opener to assist you. Again, you can do this variation with kettlebell if you want to, or a weight, or you can do this just as I'm doing right now, just with the body weight. So we're around 9 o'clock. We're going to do the same thing we do on the other side, which is just bringing our leg straight, pointing our toe forward, and we're just going to transfer our weight. Okay, so I'm going to turn a little bit so you can see how I transfer my weight. I'm just coming straight back. I position myself so that I get a little bit of rotation of the hip, and you can be up on your hands if that's better, as long as you keep a nice neutral spine position. So again, hands down or hands up, shoulders back, just rocking backwards and forwards. Just making sure that as I rock back, I get a good stretch of the adductors, the adductors that run down the inside of my hip. You can also turn your toe up to the ceiling as well, which is what I demonstrate on the other side, so I'm going to show you again. You can see my foot, so I'm turning my foot up to the ceiling as I rock back this time. So rocking back, turning my toe up to the ceiling as I rock back. And this time I'm going to keep my foot flat on the floor, so I'm now flat on the floor, and I'm going to bring my hips, so I'm biasing more towards that corner, and I'm tractioning this hip as I rock this way as well. So I'm rocking back and out, getting a little bit more of a traction on that hip as I rock back. Good. All right, so once we've come through that position, we should feel a little bit more stable. So let's grab a weight. We're going to open up the hips just a little bit more, and then we're going to do a little bit of our core four sequence on the floor. So we're standing up first. Let's stand up. Let's grab our kettlebell or a foam roller or a weight, whichever works best for you. And we do a little bit of a plie type position, nice sumo squat stance. And we're going to try and keep our chest nice and proud. So with this one, we're just going to lower it down. See how your hips feel. So just lower it down, keep it nice and centered, chest nice and proud. See how your hips feel. See if they feel better. Any clunking, clicking going out your hips? Any pain or stiffness gone from your adductors and your hips? See how you feel. This could be a really good dynamic warm-up. This could be your check-in point afterwards. If this is normally an uncomfortable movement for you, this could have opened up those hips for you. Okay, so let's put that to the side for a second. For those of you that don't have a weight, let's just do it without. Those that have a weight, keep going. We can do another set of reps. We're just trying to keep our hips opening up, sitting back. Be in more of a squat position if you don't have a weight, because we're going to need to lean back just to offset our weight just a little bit. So keeping that chest nice and tall, just leaning our hips back just a little bit. Imagine that your feet are coming nice and wide. We're opening up. Just getting those hips to rotate in the socket. We're just shifting our hips back, keeping our chest nice and proud. Excellent. We're just going to do 2 more reps just to help those hips to rotate a little bit. And then we're going to do a little bit of our core 4 on the floor. So those of you that haven't done this before, there's some review videos. We're also going to run you through the instructions for each side, but we're going to pick out some key positions for this particular exercise, as well as some stability as well. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is shoulder width apart with the hips. We're just going to rotate from side to side. So we're just rotating. You can even lift your hips off the floor if you want to. Rotate, rotate. This is just kind of a check-in. Obviously, we've done a little bit of prep work with the hips as well in the previous adductor stretches. So pick a leg. We are gonna, well, I am gonna start with my right side. It's my less tight side. So this should be a little bit easier for me to show you exactly what you need to do. We're gonna run through 2 positions of our core 4 sequence. And we are going to add in a little bit of stability as well, and then we're going to do it on the same thing on the other side. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is have about a 90-90 position. We're going to place both hands down on the floor. We're going to put one either side of our knee, and the idea with this is we're stretching nice and tall, keeping it dynamic, and we're rolling our chin down, reaching for that floor. So let's take a nice deep breath in together, rolling down, rolling our chin back up, rolling down, back up, reaching, 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 rolling back up, turning just a little bit now, because you probably already feel loose in that range, just to add some tension and a little bit more of a stretch. Breathing in, breathing out as we roll back up nice and tall. We're going to turn a little bit more, so now we're getting a little bit of tension across this hip. Roll it down, rolling back up, really getting a stretch as we lean forward and a stretch to our T-spine. I'm turning it again, I'm adding more tension across this hip, and I should probably be about 2/3 of the way around. Okay, so I'm breathing in, I'm stretching up, rolling forward. A nice stretch through my whole spine, my neck, into my shoulders and my arms. Go straight and rocking back. All right, so that's working all the way around. We've got enough tension on our hips. This time we're going to add a little bit of rotation in as we work from this position, and we're going to lean onto our elbow. Okay, so I'm on my elbow, just going to work back so you can see my face a little bit more, and we are turning our body, so we're leaning under ourselves, like threading the needle essentially. We're going to lean under our body and we're rotating up to get a little bit of an opener of the spine. Breathing in, reaching up as high as we can, and turning back, rocking under and back, breathing in, reaching up as high as we can. Trying to imagine you're extending your arm out of the socket, we're reaching up as high as we can, opening that chest as we lean back a little bit, breathing in, breathing out. Okay? Let's come back to that first position we're in with our hands down. Let's add a little bit of stability into this leg now by imagining that we are going to drive our knee into the floor. So start from the same position we were in at the very, very beginning, and that's both hands either side of the leg. Stability is really important. We create some mobility, we stretch the muscle a little bit, and we've open up the hips. So let's add some stability back in, so you walk around nice and safe and sound with that new range that you've built. So we're pushing this front knee into the floor for 3 seconds, okay? So we're gonna push down, 1, 2, 3 with this knee. We're gonna lift that knee up, lift that knee up. Might feel a little bit of a cramp on the front of your hip as we lift up, 1, 2, 3. As we do this next one, pushing down to the floor, so we're doing isometric. We're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4 this time, lifting up to our chest, so driving this foot into the floor, but lifting this knee, consciously lifting this knee. Feel a little bit of a tension build in that hip. So 1, 2, 3, and then down again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lifting up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gonna do the same thing with the back leg this time. We're gonna lift up this knee. So we're just gonna lift it up slightly. 1, 2, 3, 4. And driving that knee down. Should feel a little bit of pressure on the outside, maybe a cramp. And relax. Do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm keeping this foot down as well, I should add. I'm pushing my knee down now. 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more time, we're gonna lift this knee up, but we're keeping that foot down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Excellent. And then pushing it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. See if you can lift that foot now. Just hold it up there for a few seconds. And down, pushing that ankle into the ground. And now we're lifting it up again. 2, 3, 4. And pushing it down into the floor. Really, really getting that stability building through that hip that's on the floor. And this one that's planted on the floor. We're going to repeat the same thing the other side. So let's just do a check-in. Let's just see how these hips feel. Feel a little bit looser on one side, which is great. And we want to do the same thing on the other side. So you should know the drill now. You're just going to find that that position that we were just in. Changing sides now. Going to come around. This is my slightly tighter side. Everyone has one. Could be left or right. Who knows? We're going to start with hands either side of the knee, stretching up nice and tall, reaching away from us. So really extending that spine. We breathe in. Breathe out as we reach down, roll up the chest, stretch, 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 stretch. And we're just stretching forward. So you're really feeling that stretch both on the front and the back hip. Stretching up. Be as dynamic as you need to be. If you're starting to cool down, you want to stay warm, you can go a little bit faster, just increase the breathing rate as well. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Lean forward. Let's turn our body a little bit. As you can imagine, we're just winding this hip up on the side. Deep breath in. And now we're turning again, so this will be the third time, so we try and keep things in threes, just keep it nice and easy, and you want to keep this at the most tension this time as we turn our hip, put that tension down. So nice tall posture, breathe in, breathe out, rocking forward, reaching up, nice extension through the spine, as we try and create some distance across the hips. Okay, so let's come down to that second position we were in, where we had a rotation. We're going to drop down onto our elbow, and we're going to turn our body just to open up our T-spine a little bit and to add a little bit more of a release into those hips. So we're going to use our hand as our turning point, threading that needle under, and just turning my chest down slightly, and as I turn my chest down, I'm breathing in. So I'm breathing in, and turning up, breathing in, turning up. Keep it more dynamic if you want to. You can just go a little bit quicker with the breathing. But if you are doing recovery, if you decided this is the last workout of the day, we can just go a little bit slower. Really, really customize it to the way that you're working out today with us. And again, thank you so much for joining us today. Just turning our body. Let's move into the last piece, which is that stability piece. We're going to come back to the center again. And this time we are trying to squash imagine you're squashing your leg underneath your knees. We're pushing down with that front leg, pushing down, pushing down, pushing down, and then I'm going to try and lift it. I'm going to try and lift it. I'm going to try and lift it, lift it, lift it, and I might feel a little bit of a tension on the front there. That's normal. That's can really help add some stability to that knee. I'm pushing down again, so this time 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3, and I'm lifting. 1, 2, 3. I'm pushing down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Up again. 2, 3, 4. One more time now. And down. And this time we're going to lift our knee up on the back leg. So we're going to lift 1, 2, 3. I'm pushing it down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lifting up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Driving it down to the floor this time. Trying to get some tension across my hips as I rotate. I'm pushing my knee down and I'm lifting it up. Might get a little bit of a cramp on the inside. That's okay. Just really focus on creating some stability across your body by driving your hands down. Pushing down with my knee. And relax. Now we're going to try and lift that ankle up. So I'm driving my knee into the floor. 2, 3, and then I'm pushing it down. 2, 3, 4. I'm lifting it up. 2, 3, 4. I'm driving it down. Excellent. And let's just do it one more time. So we're going to lift it up, driving it down, and let's see if we can lift that hip up a little bit. And we're going to bring it round, and all done. Let's do a little bit of a check-in. See how those hips feel. Hopefully they feel really good to go for your next session this afternoon. Obviously do the same things near the next class if you are rejoining us for the next few sessions. I'm just going to turn the comments back on. I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for the Mobility Magic sessions. Really enjoy it and love teaching new things to you guys to help you to loosen up and mobilize. If you have any suggestions, anything you would like us to feature for mobility sessions, please do leave a comment afterwards in the video that we repost. If not, you can directly contact myself, the Special Stretch Simon, and give me a DM message about things you would like us to cover. We regularly feature content that you would like us to cover. So have a great weekend. I will see you again 11:30 on Monday. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a fantastic weekend and enjoy the rest of the sessions today put on by the personal trainers. Awesome. Thank you so much. Ciao for now.